Okay, we're here with Santa Monica Mayor Carolyn Torosis running for re-election for a second term on the City Council. Carolyn, thanks so much for joining us. Why don't you start by letting us know about why you're running for re-election?
So good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I'm running for re-election because I care deeply about this city, and I feel that we've made a lot of progress, particularly in the last year and a half. But I feel like the work is not done. We are at a really pivotal moment for the city. We are just starting to stabilize. We are bringing business back. We're righting the ship in terms of clean and safe, and ensuring that people are really feeling welcome and invited back to our city. But there are still definitely challenges ahead, right? We have, 25% plus retail vacancy on the promenade. We have Santa Monica Place in transition, and we are currently in the midst of welcoming, the world to our shores, quite frankly, with FIFA. Coming up later this summer, we're going to be having a major music festival, the Rose Parade, the Olympics, the ESPN Super Bowl broadcasting in Santa Monica. And so we have a very limited window to really capitalize on all of this attention and activity in our city to showcase the best of Santa Monica. And I want to continue to stay on the city council if I'm so lucky to continue this work. I think that we've had a history in the city. The reason I moved to the city is because this city stands up for working people, for renters, and shows really what equitable development and growth can look like. And I want to be part of that legacy as we usher in a new, hopefully, local coastal plan and show the world what a thriving city that both uplifts businesses but also cares about workers and renters and daily life can look like. So the work is not done, and I would like to continue to do it.
Thank you. So I wanted to start by asking you about your interest in creating elected mayor position. And I know you talked about that 4 years ago in your questionnaire when you ran then. But now that you've had the experience to be on the council and be in the mayor's role, why do you think that that's so important, and how would that benefit the types of stuff that you're working on now if you were able to commit full time to it?
Right. So we have a strong city manager form of government, which I think everyone knows. And we are so lucky that we were able to bring on Oliver Chi, who has just done an incredible job of really aligning all of our priorities. And for the first time, I think we have seven people on the council who are aligned on the mission forward. I do think, however, now having served as mayor and really trying to take advantage of the 1 year that I have to make some connections and bring resources to Santa Monica, that in speaking with regional partners and speaking with folks across the country, it's unclear who the mayor is, who's in charge, who's calling the shots. And so I think for Santa Monica's standing regionally, we punch above our weight. I cannot tell you how surprised other jurisdictions that are much larger than ours are when I tell them that in any given year we have a, 700 to almost $900 million annual budget. We have a large tourism economy. We are a global destination. And we suffer because we don't have that single person who's really able to speak for the city, there's continuity of leadership, people know who to go to. And then additionally, I think everyone has priorities. You have seven people with seven priorities, which are all very important. But there's no singular entity or individual who's kind of setting the agenda year over year and pushing folks in one direction in a uniform way. That's not to say that we're all not aligned behind the realignment plan, but I do think for our standing regionally and for how large we are as an economy, we suffer because we don't have that single person that people can go to that is perceived to be like the mayor, because again, we have a very weak mayor system. I also think that there are a lot of demands on our time. You are really shortchanging yourself if you're not able to spend hundreds of hours a week, frankly, doing this job, because there are so many, complicated issues happening in the city, especially around um, our economy, our hospitality industry, our workers, our renters, and being able to dedicate that time and have that singular person that people go to, I think would be value added for the city.
Thanks. Okay, let's go to Isabel.
Where you are.
Hi.
Um, I think I unmute anyway. Yeah, I'm noticing your sunset. Uh,
Oh, hi, welcome to Santa Monica.
yes, right. Uh, anyway, you talk in your questionnaire about your commitment to expanding the affordable housing pipeline. Can you tell us a bit, expand on that? Like, what is this pipeline? What have you done so far on this? And what are you planning or what would you hope to do?
Yeah, I think our city has had a history of building really a quite a fantastic amount of housing in the city. I mean, thanks to Community Corporation, we have over 2,000 units citywide that are deed restricted affordable. But I do think that as the market pressures continue to escalate, we simply just don't have enough affordable housing in the city. And I'm really committed to leveraging our public land. I would like to see our projects at Fourth and Fifth in Arizona move forward. I would like to see our projects at Bergamot Station move forward. We are really trying to expedite that work, Isabel, making sure that affordability for renters is top of mind. And then I would also just say that really interested in learning a little bit more, and our city manager has some experience coming from Irvine in affordable homeownership opportunities. I think that as we expand not only with tax credit housing, which is really important. There's just not enough tax credits to finance, all of the affordable housing that needs to be built. So looking at creative other opportunities, I'm very interested. I've done this in my professional life. In a commercial setting, but community land trusts, I think very important for us to look at non-traditional methods of shared ownership, limited equity opportunities for folks. I've done a lot of work, which I can get into as part of my mayoral fellowship, learning about what the indicators of success are for communities. And when people have the opportunity to build wealth, generation over generation, that just leads to better health, economic, educational outcomes. And so I'm very interested in expanding our pipeline of all types of housing for all types of people and all types of needs. Especially with respect to our city-owned property, because I think that's the only way that you're going to be able to finance some of this stuff, is if you bring in the property that the city owns as well. So I'm interested in that. I'm also interested as we've looked at streamlining the approval process. We have and now a 92.5% plan check on time rate, which I'm really proud of. Since adopting the realignment plan, we've really tried to make it easier and faster for people to get through that process to actually build the units that we need to build. So um, I'm excited about some of the kind of creative opportunities that are upcoming, and that's what I'm committed to.
I do have a follow-up. I hope it doesn't take too long, but it's very important to me. You mentioned
Sure.
Bergamot Station, as you know, because it's one of our public lands. As an arts lover, I am very concerned about we have art galleries there,
Yep.
restaurants,
Yep.
a couple of theaters. What is going to happen to those places? And I know, part of the realignment plan is building up cultural
Mhm.
events. What is going to happen to the cultural sites that are already at
Absolutely.
Bergamot?
Yeah, so without saying too much, because we've been discussing this in closed session, I would
Mm.
say the council is 100% aligned on maintaining this as a cultural anchor in the city. And so any project that we would do would have to, in my opinion, I'll just speak for myself, would have to maintain, if not expand the amount of art space and also provide relocation for the time that any redevelopment was happening, and then a return back to the tenancy at the same rate that the arts institution was paying previously. And I think we've
Oh, okay.
talked about that with staff. Similar to like a right to return for tenants, I think
Yeah.
we want to look at this on the commercial side. And we've said any proposal that goes for that the city goes forward with has to put these tenants at Bergamot first, because we do not want to lose this kind of cultural asset that we have in the city. I think there's
Yes.
also opportunity at the airport. There's also a thriving art scene over there, but Bergamot is unique and we don't want to lose that. So I'm without saying too much because we're all in negotiations. There's some really exciting proposals. I think people would be very thrilled if we were able to make Bergamot the same amazing place it is, but even better
All right. Thank you.
with housing.
Hey, let's go to Kay.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi.
I have a question and then I may have a follow-up question. It is, what is your understanding of harm reduction?
Yeah, so I think harm reduction in the truest sense of the word is like we take a care first approach to reducing the harm that people can cause to themselves and others. And so that means I think you're probably referring to our Safe Needle Exchange program. That is a harm reduction program put forward by the County of Los Angeles. And it is a kind of data tested, like scientifically backed program that if you go to the places where you're, for example, in Santa Monica, where you're seeing the highest amount of overdoses, and you distribute safe syringes, et cetera, you establish a rapport with the individual. Not only are you stopping the spread of disease amongst that population and amongst the community, you are also establishing like a line of communication with those individuals to make it more likely that they will come and avail themselves of services to try to get better because a lot of these incidences are addiction, disease, etc. Um, that we have some harm reduction programs in the city, and that is facilitated by our county Department of Public Health.
Cool. And then I'll just ask the follow-up question. What do you believe are the underlying or root causes of crime, and how can the city council work to address those?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, part of what has happened in the city is that when you have like started with COVID, when you start to have vacancies, when you start to have people who are not activated on the street walking the block, there's more opportunity, less visibility on the street, and there are potentially like if there are people who are going to perpetuate illegal activity, it's easier to do it in places where folks aren't looking, right? And so we were quite frustrated, I think, if I can say it candidly, with the deployment models and the policing models that the city had previously deployed under our prior administration. I think with Chief Jacob, we have really seen enhanced emphasis in patrolling the downtown and other cores of the city when, they're the busiest times. We also know that even at, they start at 6 a.m. in the morning and they walk the promenade, right? So even when people aren't on the promenade, and perhaps there's less foot traffic, that's a time when our law enforcement needs to be out and looking at what's happening. In terms of crime, I think, there are serious and violent crime. And I think, as we've talked about, that's decreased 12.5%. And then there's, kind of crimes of desperation, these part two crimes, petty theft, etc. I think, we have to be cognizant of the economic climate that we're in, but then at the same time, I think, Chief Jacob has said this, and I agree. It is absolutely not a crime to be homeless in Santa Monica, but it is a crime to do, illegal activities. And so we have tried to really target our policing and our crime prevention on addressing, for example, we've done several kind of undercover operations with our police in neighboring jurisdictions around like drug rings that are happening in our city. So like we really want to address any sort of root causes of what's the overspill of the criminal activity that's happening in the city. And I think there are a multitude of reasons why people commit crimes. I do think, however, from like a council perspective and from our responsibility to keep the city clean and safe, we need to make sure there's not over policing happening, but that there are eyes on the street, whether it's sworn or non-sworn individuals, that we just are activating as well our commercial spaces so that there's less opportunity for things to go unnoticed. And so that's, I think, an all-encompassing strategy of making people feel safe, but then also just like activating the urban areas of the city.
Great, thanks.
Let's go to Lynn.
Hi, Carolyn. You've been doing such wonderful work on so many different issues within the city and problems that we have. But sometimes I feel like our homelessness problem is not getting the attention it deserves. And I don't mean affordability type issues. I'm talking about the people that can't afford affordability rental, and housing. So what kind of actions will you take as a city council member to help the desperate people on the street that have no place to go, that are just desperate. What actions can you take to help them?
Well, I would just say, even if you're not hearing about what we're doing on the homeless and housing front, it's absolutely like it's one of our three pillars for the city council priorities. It is my priority, and I think that we have to be able to get a better handle on what we're doing within the city. And I'm just so grateful, of course, that this community has been mission aligned, that thank you to many of you here around getting additional resources for this work. So first of all, I think you can't talk about solving the homeless crisis without talking about the housing crisis. And then secondly, I think what we've been working on and what some of you have been engaged on and what will be coming to council soon, is our kind of system of care plan for our entire homeless system. So we as a city have made a decision that we want to control the entire throughput through our system because we know that we are producing supportive housing and affordable housing. And then we also have crisis stabilization. So we were really happy to get a grant from the state for Santa Monica Bridge. We're looking to expand that because the first thing is if someone is struggling and they are on the street, further incarcerating them for smaller crimes, is that going to help them improve their quality of life and their current situation? No. We are diverting them to Samo Bridge to give them the opportunity if they want to try to enter into workforce programs, drug treatment, anything that mental health support, things that they might need in order to stabilize. And then also there's an opportunity for folks to defer their sentence we also have on the city attorney side an entire diversion program with them as well. So we have to stabilize people. We have a sheltering model right now that is at Samo Shell, and we are looking at expanding that. Well, I shouldn't say expanding that. What I should say is taking a scattered sites approach so that we can have beds in different parts of the city. We control who's going into the beds, how quickly they're staying, or how long they're staying in those beds, and then where the appropriate supportive or affordable housing location would be upon their kind of release from interim housing, from sheltering. And so if the city is able to control, instead of relying just on the county to send us people unclear where they're from, unclear where we're going to find them a bed. If we're prioritizing the Santa Monica priority population who have been homeless in Santa Monica, we're finding sheltering, diversion services for them, and then controlling the throughput into permanent supportive housing or affordable housing. We actually think that we're going to be able to move folks off of our street more effectively. And all of that, of course, comes with like intensive wraparound services and case management, Lynn. So I think we're very, very focused on all of this. It's not a one size fits all approach. Different people need different approaches, and we're really trying with our Housing and Human Services department to work on that. Additionally, something that I think Mike knows about, we are working on a predictive analytic pilot with UCLA California Policy Lab to see if there's a way for us to catch people before they go get into homelessness. Because we all know it's more cost effective to keep people housed than it is once they've hit our streets. So we're attacking the housing side, we're attacking the services side, and then of course we're attacking like the preventative side. And then I will say there has been some, and I know it's 10:01, there has been some criticism that we take everyone in Santa Monica. And so what I do want everyone to know that we actually track who's the Santa Monica priority population, and those are the people that we prioritize for services first. Those are people who have a record of having been served or lived in Santa Monica. And then we're working with our neighboring jurisdictions to see if we can find additional shelter bed capacity, but it may not be in Santa Monica, it may be in a neighboring jurisdiction for those who are not a Santa Monica priority population, but still with the wraparound services. Sorry, Mike.
Um, just as a follow-up, really quick question. Are there still outreach groups going out into the
Absolutely.
community? Okay, good.
Absolutely. And if people see someone and they want me to help them call someone out, we absolutely can do that. They're going out every day. We also
Good.
have the therapeutic transport team, which I talked about in my questionnaire, which I'm really proud about. I help facilitate a partnership between county DMH and the city where we're going out with social workers to really figure out what is it that this individual needs and how do we get them to the right bed or the right setting. So yeah,
Right.
we're doing a lot of that too. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry, I have to jump in. We're running a bit behind, so if someone has a question that can be pretty quick, we can do it
So,
otherwise.
John, my question needs to be asked because I'm
Okay.
putting it to every
Okay,
council
go
today.
ahead, and
I
then
think
we'll
it's important
and
that
then Keith and
people hear
Philippe.
the answer
Go
by
ahead.
all 11 of them.
Okay, go ahead.
So besides the downtown and the commercial boulevards, and besides whatever the state compels us to do in terms of upzoning, what upzoning do you support of the single family neighborhoods or the multifamily neighborhoods?
I think that we're adhering to what the state has required of us, and that is what I'm comfortable with at this point. And I think that I support kind of putting the density in the downtown and on the boulevards, and I think that that's going to get us at scale the solutions that we need.
Okay, thank you. Keith, we'll come back to the other questions for the next guest, but thanks so much, Carolyn. If you wanted to wrap up or say conclude, and then we'll
Patricia's going like this, and
does he
what
like
she's trying to
I
say.
have a two-word question or
okay.
two-word answer. What term limit would you put on the elected mayor?
Oh, I mean, this is a pie in the sky thing, but it would be 12 year. I mean, it would be the same as a council member. It would have, yeah,
Election term,
yeah, 3 terms, same as a council member.
3 4-year terms.
Is that yes, that is, I would say let's parity with what we have for the council.
Okay.
I have a super quick question, John. Super quick
Okay, go
question.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi there, Carolyn. Hey, congrats on your acceptance into the Harvard Graduate School of Design and Just Study Mayoral Fellowship. So congrats on that.
Thanks.
Society and governance is an interdisciplinary puzzle, to say the least. And I'm curious about how the city can continue to establish innovative partnerships, like with institutions of higher learning, think tanks, corporate partners, to continue to, drive and create, sustainable policy and
Yeah.
development.
I think it's absolutely critical. I think that the reason actually why I applied to this fellowship is because for since COVID, the city has just been like literally trying to keep the lights on. And pre-COVID, we really did go out and proactively kind of pursue those types of partnerships. And I think it is really important that, of course, everything is rooted in like practicality and what works for our community, but how do we also bring in experts from other parts of the country who might actually think like differently about how to do things so that we're truly at the cutting edge of innovating here in Santa Monica, because that's why I love living here.
Great. Thanks.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Carolyn. Appreciate
Thanks, guys.
your
Love the Gem Club. I'm always here to be an ally, and thank you all for your support over the last 4 years. It means a lot, and I'll leave it at that because I know you guys were over time.
Okay, thanks. Good luck with the ribbon cutting.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.